The bottom right side, Kai Z Gaming. We have a blue Zerg. His name, Solar. Went a bit crazy there. Tap dancing on the zoom in and zoom out button. Here we go. Top left side. There he is. The dragon, the phoenix, the gaming man of mystery and mischievous plays overall. He is the pink Protoss, Zest. Zest back in the driver's seat right now. Forfeiting the winners match in order to, well, keep all his PVT, I should say, builds and plans hidden for the future. And it shows that, you know, Zest, he's a player that, if he's playing a certain way, he wants to play that certain way, and he will be playing that certain way. You could make the case like, well, just do some cheese, right? Just do a couple of cheeses, but anything he does, it's gonna paint a picture, right? Anything. Absolutely anything. If he does do something that he's planning to use, then he's giving away the strategy. If he's using something that he's not really planning to use, I mean, his opponent could make the assumption in a way, well, he's just using these weird cheeses. So, you know what? He's very unlikely to use these cheeses in the GSL because he just used them in this other tournament. That was not that long ago, and we could look at it, so we know that this is something that he does. Right, so he's going to start feeling uncomfortable, you're going to start getting in your head, all that type of stuff, and you know what? Props to Zest to just be able to say, like, you know, I'm not gonna make myself worry about all that thing. I'm gonna be able to beat either Solar or Lenok, whoever it may be, in the deciders match, and just let the Terran cure skip on by for this one time. There's the thing though, I mean, Zest may still have to face off against some Terrans in the playoffs. I'm not sure how it's going to work out with scheduling and stuff. Whether or not that the playoff round is going to be behind the GSL. I think it might be, because there's still another group coming up in between this and the playoffs for this event. And then the GSL, I would assume, is going to resume not in the too far distant future. Alright, what's happening in this game? What is happening in this game? We've got a Oracle coming out of the Stargate right now. That is the first Stargate building, well, the first Stargate building as well, but it's also the first Stargate units that we're getting out of this. And we're going to see Zest take charge with the triple Stargate, as we saw him do versus Lenok as well. Or is he going to try some different strategies here versus Solar, the bit better practiced Zerg at this moment in time? Oracle getting spotted. The Zerglings make their way back across the map. Fleet Beacon very early on, once more on that production tab. Look at it in all its glory. As the second Stargate, it's all off of a 2 base, no third base, which is what we saw against Lenok on Light Shade. So he's only going with the 2 Stargate for now. But that might switch up later, of course, seeing the third base now being produced. Didn't pay enough attention to see whether or not this is the exact order he did it in that previous game as well versus Lenok, but it's looking very similar, except for, you know what, maybe not. Maybe not. There's a Tempest being constructed right now. And didn't he? Yeah, I think he went for triple Stargate before the Fleet Beacon beforehand in that previous game. So, very interesting. 2 Tempest on that production tab. Very cool to see. He still has the Oracle, so a great tool to be able to keep zapping damage away from afar onto your opponent. A couple of adepts moving out. Not sure if Solar was watching the game between Zest and Lenok as well. But if he was, then you might start to have the assumption that this is a adept push coming out his way, right? Because that is what it's looking like right now. It's looking very similar to what we saw in Lenok versus Zest game number 1, where he did go for that adept pressure play. Zest just always playing the mind games. Always coming up with, you know, figuring out the best way to trick his opponents right now. Very cool to see him in such a, you know, high caliber playstyle that he's performing so incredibly well. Alright, that did show the Tempest shooting, so Solar should know. He's not just up against something on the ground, and he was already producing that Spire, so to be fair, the Adept should have arrived a while ago, which means Solar, he knows he's been had. Now moving across the map, checking to see if he can still make something happen here with these Zerglings and Roaches behind it. He's trying to produce the drones. Alright, this is working out well for Solar. This is increasing his odds of getting something to work out in his favor. The Tempest are being spotted moving across the map, and that is giving the green light for this Zerg attack to come on in here. First cancellation on, I believe it was a cannon or a, well, shield battery or a cannon, one of the two. Coming in hot right now as Solar just doesn't even kill a probe there, I believe. He killed nothing. He killed nothing. He killed nothing. He's trying to kill an Adept right now. He's not going to kill an Adept, is he? He might. Okay, one Adept is finally dead. Some Zealots up there. They're not going to die. Cybercore? Alright, yeah, he gets a Cybercore. But what's he got against? What is this? Now, 5 Tempest? 5 Tempest. He's got 3 Queens. 2 Queens. 2 Queens again. Now 1. He's got a couple of Corruptors here. Hopefully they will be able to break this offensive. Stop it from taking out the 3rd base, but it's not looking too good. Recall comes in straight away afterwards. And saves 2 of the Tempest after breaking the back of Solar in his own base with his economy. Quite a rude maneuver, but an efficient one, and quite effective. Corruptors are going to be facing off against Void Rays right now, but how many Void Rays has Zest been able to produce? It looks like 3 prismatic alignments with the shield battery overcharge. More than enough to keep control of the sky right now. Moving in a little bit too quickly. Again, I would say that prismatic alignment ever so powerful, but more Corruptors are joining in the fray right now. Was I a bit too soon to dismiss this ball of Corruptors turning around to take the fight right here? Maybe I was. More and more Corruptors spilling on through. The Tempest are pretty much dealt with. 2 more Corruptors, Void Rays. And 2 more Stalkers joining in as well. But now the Zerglings are starting to spill through. I don't know. Luckily for Zest, the Corruptors can't shoot anything on the ground. Maybe a building here and there they can try to bother with a bit of corrosive rain. He's gonna kill both these targets. This is such a weird scenario. Like, this is just so strange. Just having the Zerg run into the Protoss base and being able to not really do anything but kill 2 Stargates. That is dead center in the middle of the Protoss base. That is ridiculous. There's a lot of drones dying here, by the way. That is all the work of this one little Oracle. 10 workers right there. Well done, Mr. Oracle. You've done your job for the Protoss Inquisition. Very cool stuff so far in this game. And where are we going to be able to take this to from this position? It looks like just maybe perhaps an Archon Zealot attack will be the next move here from Zest. He does have charge, he does have Archons. Blink is coming in. And +1 as well available here for these Zealots. Corruptors may be able to find themselves a Nexus. But nah, that is Starkers being warped in more than enough. Let's see how well the Archons with the Zealots are going to be able to do here. The drones being pulled. That's going to be a lot of drone kills against those Archons if they're not too careful. More Zealots coming on through as well. I kind of want to take a look at the Corruptors very quickly here. Alright, let's see. They have been dealt with. They did manage to get the Nexus. That is not something I was expecting to happen anymore, but it did. Solar also holding on against those Archons that I thought may be the end of him. Striking back, and he survives with a fairly reasonable worker count with still his bases up and running and having killed off the Nexus here. I guess we just saw that the robotics support bay is on the same hotkey as the Nexus for Zest as well. Very interesting. The more you know. Right. Trying to kind of formulate where I see this game going in the next couple of moments. Looking past all the tabs here, I have to say I like the army and tech composition of Zest available a whole lot better than that for Solar right now. Solar nowhere near the Hive tech, which I think might be something that could get him a victory here. Some very cost-efficient way of trading against the gateway forces here of Zest, right? Whether that be with Fungals or going up into some heavier tier 3 units. Oh, that is big. Oh, those are some lovely force fields right there. That's a lot of roaches being sniped away. Swept off by the wonderful micro of Zest right there. So they're making a lot of links right now. Is he trying to get himself to max supply? It looks like he is. Just links and banelings. I think he's gearing up for a big attack, guys. I think he is gonna try to break Mr. Zest's base here somewhere. Either that or he is anticipating Zest to move out, which is actually happening as well. So, there you go. A lot of Zealots on the bottom. All the Stalkers with the Archons, the Immortals and the Sentries straight dab center in the middle. Roaches here. Looks like that's not enough against what is coming at them. The Banelings at the wrong side of the fields, really. Those Roaches kind of necessary against these Archons right now. And the Banelings versus the Zealots. So that was a horrible way to split up the units right there from Solar. And he realizes things go sour very quickly for him. GG is called. Zest takes game number 1. So yeah, we're having another Stargate here coming out of Zest. Not sure at which point I... Ah, well, anyway. Anyway, so the Stargates being produced. Zest's very consistent with that Stargate play. I haven't seen the Adept play versus Solar just quite yet. Solar, he is known to be struggling against the Adept play, guys. It's something he just doesn't seem to really be able to catch the drift of, right? It's just a little tempo thing, like a rhythm thing, and he's just a little bit off beat with his movements and stuff like this, and it just sometimes just absolutely falls apart for him still. And because of this, he starts doubting himself in those situations, and he starts overcompensating by making too many units for the situation at hand, which just kind of makes the situation even worse for him in some moments. But yeah, can't help but feel for those types of players in those struggling situations, right? Where a lot of pressure is just being thrown at you all over the place. You manage to hold it, but then it's like, well, I guess I held it, but it just cost me so much to hold this that I'm not really in a good position to win this game anymore. Drones are in trouble here. 4 of them in total are picked off. One of them managed to escape into the Spore Crawler trick. Reasonable chunk of Zerglings here trying to, well, perhaps do something. Well, this is interesting. Well, map makers. What's this? I don't know. Little visual bug on the Nexus here. Can we reproduce it? It's only on this side, isn't it? Oh, it's here. It's here where it happens. Like a particular place. We're gonna find now because I like to be a bastard about this and point out point out the little tiny things that people do wrong. Second Stargates, together with the Robo now in that production tab, as well as the +1 air weapons. All coming in hot. Solar droning away so far. Is the right kind of attitude to have in these types of situations. Grabbing himself a 4th base. And a lot of gas as well. It's a lot of gas already on the 6 gas geysers right here. And there's the Spire. Likely structure to be seeing going up after this amount of extractors have been acquired. Same for the infestation pit, actually. Immediately goes into the infestation pit. Very interesting. Maybe realizing he's gonna have to try to get the tier 3 units a little bit quicker in order to combat this quick tier 3 unit army composition coming in from Zest. Just, you know, Protoss have found such a safe way to get themselves into the late game army composition with these Void Rays and the plus weapons attack for air, the shield batteries everywhere. Very difficult for a Zerg to kind of come in there and break it all down before it gets too much of the tech all rolling together. The 2 choices you kind of have as a Zerg. Probably do some sort of a timing attack with the Queens and the Roaches. Maybe even a Nidus Worm. Just be like, alright, well, fine. If you're gonna sit back there, alright, I'm just gonna try to take as much of the map as possible. Gonna play you at your own game. Get myself into a very late game situation as well. And then we'll just see who manages to control that late game army a little bit better. And that who's able to navigate the waters of late game overall, of course. It's not just about controlling the army units. It's about composition, placement, which bases you keep checking to see whether or not your opponent's taking them. Whether or not you're able to deny some bases here and there with some run-bys. Which areas you find undefended, which ones you yourself leave undefended. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that just comes into a game of StarCraft 2, isn't it? Every time you think about it and you try to just kind of list all these things that are important in StarCraft 2, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. Sure, there's a hierarchy of all those things individually, right? But I'm sure you guys know what I mean. All of it is essential if you want to try to get yourself to the top of this game. How come Zest forfeited? He forfeited because he has 2 Terran opponents, I believe, in the GSL coming up. The other one that is coming up is Trap. And maybe he just doesn't like the odds of him versus Trap. I know Trap is quite strong indeed. He's considered to be the best Protoss around right now by a lot of people. So maybe Zest just prioritizing his PvT in a way in that GSL setup. And doesn't want to, you know, risk losing some of his tactics or giving in a little bit of extra insight into his PvT matchup right now for those opponents. So yeah. Potentially his last GSL as well, as Sushi is saying. Of course, in that situation, you want to do the very, very best that you can. You want to make it absolutely everything you can make it and have no regrets about the situation. And, you know, even though this is still a tournament and there's some money on the line here, it's not the prestige of the GSL, right? I'm sure Zest would love to win this tournament. But he has to pick and choose the risk he's willing to take for this. That's an extreme decision right there to just straight up forfeit the PvT matchup, but it's his choice. It's his choice. We just gotta have to live with it. Be like, alright, Zest. That's fine. We still love you. We still love to watch you play this game of StarCraft 2. It's a shame we don't get to see that one extra best of 3, you know? But we understand. Alright. It's the true matchup of the no, you attack me first, please, sir. Spore crawlers, spine crawlers, brute lords, infestors. Versus the shield batteries, cannons, carriers, void rays, mothership, high templar composition, even some immortals being mixed in. Of course, those ultralisk are going to be trying to run underneath the carriers, take out the high templar, make life difficult for the corruptors and the brute lords, but the immortals will be there to meet the ultralisk at that task. Alright. So more and more of the map is being split in half. I'm a bit surprised that actually, you know what, Zest ahead on basis right now. Solar not really taking the initiative on just spreading out all over the map. To be fair, with Void Rays running around, it is so incredibly easy to just lose a hatchery because like 5 Void Rays come in from an angle you didn't expect or didn't see them coming in from. They prismatic align on your hatchery, and with that, what is it now, +2? Yeah, it's already +2 attack for the air weapons. Stuff's gonna go down quick. Like, hatcheries, they will disintegrate. They will implode in on themselves. How many corruptors? 10 corruptors. 8 infestors. They do, of course, have the neural parasite upgrade, of course, right? They don't. They do not, actually. Do they? Am I crazy? It's not there, right? Why wouldn't he get it? It's not getting it right now. He has the money for it. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he doesn't want it. That's crazy. Hopefully that's not one of those things that's gonna make him hit his head later down the line. You know, just absolute facepalm moments like those. We're like, oh my god, I've been playing this game the entire game without this one upgrade. Oh my. Imagine what that would have done. But yeah, he's getting a lot of other upgrades. Ultralisk, the weapons for ground and air. He's getting centrifugal hooks for the banelings. He's getting a lot of stuff here. Even adding another evolution chamber. Might just be for the Viper energy, of course. He's already 3-3 on this one. Let's see, ground weapons. Yeah, you could still start up the ranged weapons on that new Evo chamber. Not the most crucial thing at this moment in time. Unless if he's planning to try and remax on Hydralisk or something like that later on down the line. Wouldn't be the worst idea. You know, quick army composition changes of the Zerg is one of their best traits, so, after all. That's disappointing. Disappointing counterattack there from Solar. 40-minute plus Solar versus Cure game earlier was really good too. It was insane, wasn't it? I'm sure we're gonna get that on the YouTubes. Like, that was crazy. That was a very fun series, honestly, overall. Base here for Solar, not going to be able to be protected. You gotta move your defensive line before, like, you know, setting up shop with those hatcheries. The Queens here, very far forward. Every single one of them get the feedback ability on their face. I'm really liking Zest's position here so far. Let's look at the units lost tab. It's crazy that we've only had this amount of units being killed off. You know, with this amount of stuff going on everywhere. They're both on, like, how many? 6 bases? 6 bases, and both of them have lost about, like, 2k, almost 3k, 1.5 minerals worth. And that's it. That's it. 15 minutes into the game. You know what? We're gonna see... we're gonna see more probes now. Probably doing more overall resources lost than has happened so far. Just because they get sacrificed across the maps, Zest no longer needs them. It's all consistent with the 20-minute no attack rule, guys. Don't worry about it. We will allow it. Alright, spore crawlers. Finally getting rid of that pesky little observer right there. Giving all the hidden information to Zest, who is going to try to poke into this area here. He knows this base very important to be able to control this area. Otherwise, he will need to grab that left side there as well. There's one base up here. Look at that mothership, by the way, going across also. This is going to be a big move coming in from Zest here, I would imagine. There is a ton of spore crawlers here. A lot of infrastructure. Zest getting ready to bunch up. The army of Solar already starting to move towards the left side. Now, there is the recall. The entirety of the army now suddenly on the left will be able to take out all this static defense and is gonna most likely take out this base as well. Solar struggling to get those slow Brood Lords all the way over here. Might be able to make something happen before they actually arrive, but would he really want to? That is a good question. I don't think you would. Great fungal so far on the entirety of this army. The Infestors managed to pick off the Warpers and that together with the Corruptors. That was filled up to the brim with High Templars. This is a massive loss of army for Zest here due to those fantastic fungals. Solar takes a wonderful fight, but it did cost him a base. Is he going to be able to come across right now and take out more damage on Zest's area of the field here? Start stabilizing things. I mean, it's still about a 50 supply gap right now. A lot of that was, of course, those workers that, I guess, were kicked off as well. It's only 59 right now available for Zest. 68 for Solar. So I guess neither of these players can afford to just keep throwing army after army away, but definitely Solar right now, already maxed out again, is going to be able to pick off another base. He will lose that 9 o'clock base once again, though. Needs to have a couple of spine crawlers in order to defend against the ground units, not just the spore crawlers. He's starting to mix some of those in right now, I see. Look at that, 6 spine crawlers, 53 spore crawlers. He has his priority, guys. He knows what's the real threat here. It is the Golden Armada from Zest. More and more carriers coming into play. Storming the little changelings right there. Good way to clean them up rather quickly. Gotta keep on yoinking those carriers as much as you can in order to keep that trading value into your favor. Now, overall, look at this position, guys. Look at that difference in gas lost right now. 6,800 versus just a measly 800 from Solar. That is a ridiculous difference right there. Even in the minerals as well. Solar just, wow. That is very impressive. Being able to trade this efficiently so far. I guess it mostly was just this one fight here on the bottom, kind of towards the bottom left side, towards that 9 o'clock. He just took out so many carriers, so many High Templar in the Warp Prism as well, of course. Just destroyed a big portion. This looking a little bit less advantageous for Solar, not gonna lie. Losing about 4, 5, 6 Brood Lords. Oh my, he's losing all of them. He's lost all of them. He's lost all his Brute Lords in a matter of seconds. That was 9 Brute Lords gone. Disintegrated. About 40 army supply worth of Brute Lords. Almost. I don't even know exactly how much, but it was quite a bit. Zerglings and Banelings are trying to do counterattack damage there, but will not be able to achieve too much. The carriers moving on through. Maybe we didn't need those spine crawlers there after all. Or maybe we just never should have made those Brute Lords. And oh my. Oh my. This is about a 30 army supply difference right now. Solar trying to scramble everything up together. A lot of his army supply is still trying to just move across the map from somewhere. Or just still in the production tab, right? That is very possible as well. Alright, Interceptors growing to lower and lower numbers. Now, is this enough for Solar to take it all out? It looks like, you know what, things are going down very quickly now for Zest. Army supply be damned. All we need is to take out those little Interceptors, and then that is the trigger to go in for the kill. Taking out a lot of carriers there. That was a crazy fight. That was a ridiculous fight, really. Like, so many weird things happening there. The Brute Lords just meandering across the map. The Corruptors trying to just kite backwards, keep kiting backwards slowly but surely. That base under such duress as well, and just 50 army supply difference almost. We were almost on a 50 army supply difference, and Solar, with all the help of those Spore Crawlers, taking out all the Interceptors. I guess that's one of the bigger things like that. It makes it harder to see exactly what's going on just looking at the army supply. Because the Interceptors don't show up on army supply, just the carriers do. Well, this might still be too much. This might still be too much. Massive fleet of Void Rays now together with an enormous amount of Archons. All here to take out the Archons. But no, what is this? Zerglings and Ultralisk coming from the back. We'll be able to pick off all the Archons. Now, can we scramble up enough corrupted defense here in order to take out these Void Rays? And maybe the Ultralisk might be able to take out a Nexus or two here as well. Things not done yet in this game, guys. It's starting to get really close. Solar, I feel like, is on the verge of winning this. But those Void Rays still pose quite a problem. And the infrastructure for Zest here with all these cannons and shield batteries. It's difficult for a small cluster of units to just win the game, right? To be able to just run across and start dealing actual damage. It's very difficult. Dodging the Fungals right now. These Void Rays still going uncontested. Ultralisk and Zerglings finally find that one exposed base without any infrastructure there to defend. So that's taken out. Zest now struggling for cash. Only 30 workers strong, to be fair. Solar only 50 workers strong. Another Nexus coming in for Zest. 100 supply difference right now. I mean, if this is not going to be enough for Solar, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to beat Zest in any scenario. Because, man, this is looking very good for him in the numbers. A lot of it is in those Ultralisk, though, of course, and they are quite bogus against Void Rays. They will not help you out in that scenario. Nor will Brood Lords, Solar. Neither will Brood Lords, Solar. They won't help you against just pure Void Rays. I guess they'll help against the cannons and the shield batteries and such, right? Maybe he's just planning to force the Void Rays away from those areas. Alright, yeah, I can see why that would be a good call then. Alright. And then you run in with everything, together with the Ultralisk and all of that. Alright. Alright. We're on max supply again for Solar. But Solar being typical Solar, I mean, again, he's just like, alright, I did damage, I did good trades, I've got map control now, I'm just gonna sit back and let you try to deal with me. I know you don't have this base, and as long as you don't have this base, I'm gonna be okay. We're which is true in a sense, right? He has this extra base mining. Just needs to keep it alive right now. Just needs to keep it alive. Throwing the game from this scenario, I mean, it would be quite devastating, right? It would be quite an unforgettable one, honestly. But you know what? We do make blunders as human beings now and again. We all have, and we will all again at some point in the future. It's Murphy's Law. How many Void Rays do we have? 14 Void Rays. How many Corruptors? 21. 10 Infestors, though. I mean, if we just get enough Infestors... He still doesn't have Neural, but in theory, he could just Neural Parasite every single army unit of Zest. If he just gets, like, what? 6 more Infestors. Well, 7 if he wants the High Templar as well. I guess he's maxed out, so he can't do it right now, but... I mean, the potential is there, which is quite frightening. And I suppose he doesn't have Neural Parasite upgraded, so... The idea is kind of out of the window. Now here's my question, right? Solar's been maxed on supply for such a long period of time now. I mean, I get the idea of not wanting to rush in, trying to finish your opponents when you're already ahead on bases, and in a way you're kind of in a position where Zest has to take out Solar. Do you really want Zest to just be able to grind out more army supply? Slowly but surely? I don't think you do. That's a big recall of Void Rays suddenly right on top of all of these Corruptors. Neural Parasites would be nice, but just Fungals for now. Doing a lot of damage. And there we have it. GG is called. The surprise Void Ray barrage with the recall didn't quite work out, and GG. Imagine if he just wins both. He wins the GSL and he wins this tournament. Ah, that would be quite something. Well, if anyone can do it, it's the pink Protoss right here in the top right side. In the top. Dragon Phoenix Gamer Man Zest. Bottom left side we have a blue Zerg. Hailing from the team Kaiser Gamers. It is Solar. Alright. Little Probicans. Once again, Solar not even surprised anymore. Nor should you be. Zest in... I swear to you, every single game, every single matchup, he will send that probe as quickly as he can. Maybe not PvP. Maybe PvP is the exception. But man, does he love just being on his opponent's side of the map. Gaining that intel, seeing what they're up to, just being a nuisance. Putting the drone hair in the paint can. There's all sorts of juvenile kind of stuff, right? Ringing the doorbell of the mineral fields. Ha 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 ha. So much fun. Right. We've had a couple of games go very long already. Both of which were due to Solar. Which I don't mind, but you know what? We have Solar here again. It's one more game. The deciding match. Is he gonna move on? Is he gonna get kicked out? No, he would love to get himself in that next game. In the playoffs. So with Zest, of course, but... I don't know. I don't know who is going to be planning to try and get into the late game a little bit more so. Seeing how that previous late game went for Solar, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if he tries to wiggle himself into that same scenario once again. And seeing Zest going with the Stargate first there, if we don't get like a Twilight Council or something behind this, it's very likely that we're going to have a similar situation as we had the previous game. Right? This is how it opens up. This is how these two kind of started things out, going along the regular track that they like to play with. And in the end, Solar did manage to get out on top, but only after a devastating mistake from Zest with his army, somewhere where apparently they shouldn't have been. Trying a mothership attack with the recall. Just getting demolished by the army of the Zerg, getting there a little bit quicker than he perhaps anticipated. In particular, those fungals. Like, those fungals, the amount of damage that was being dealt by those fungals, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then the Watt Prism with all of those High Templar as well, just gone. Right? All that storm energy, all that damage, that potential damage on the Corruptors. That fight, I mean, with a couple of different spells being casted there, it could have gone into Zest's favor. Right? And then all of a sudden that mothership attack, it would have won him the game. But unfortunately, Solar just a bit ahead, just a bit quicker with the button presses, and finding himself that wonderful fight right there. To be fair, Solar, he did kind of realize that this was coming in quite on time, right? I think maybe Zest is trying to do this 1-2 punch maybe a little bit too often, because the way he saw Zest's army kind of move backwards and try to stay stacked on top of each other, it was kind of already screaming at Solar like, alright, I'm gonna try to recall all these units, and where else are you gonna recall all those units towards except for like the opposite side of the map? So he did get to start to move those units a little bit quicker. And perhaps maybe the next evolution of this kind of mind game trickery from Zest would be to send the mothership there, make it look like it's recalling the army, and then just come in with the army from the other side anyway. Maybe that's the next step of the evolution here. Who knows? Or maybe just doing, you know, one by one. Just then do this, then do that. Mix it up. Make it difficult for the Zerg to figure out what's gonna happen. Right there, it felt like Solar kind of had a pretty good idea very quickly on like what was going to happen, and well, it's the best way to be able to deal with something in StarCraft 2. It's just knowing that it's going to happen. Realizing that your opponent is going for something and then just being there, stopping that thing from happening. Yeah, here we go. More Void Rays being produced. He is going with the Void Ray speed. There's no Tempest this time around. No incredibly quick areas. Just the Void Rays with the speed. Let's still transition into something else, of course, but for now, this is what we're dealing with as the viewpoint for Solar is. Who is going back into, well, it looks like the exact same army here. The Corruptors with the Infestors, starting to get himself into the Brood Lords. Brood Lords kind of gave way for the Lurkers for quite a period of time. But I like to see, seeing Solar kind of bringing them back here. They are quite an interesting unit. Incredibly slow, but man, the army composition overall... Ooh, I went a bit too far forwards. Army composition overall can be just so incredibly devastating. There's a lot of Overlords here potentially going to go down. There's 5 Overlords. Oh no, okay, it has to leave away as the Queens all arrive. Oh, finds the Spire here. That is an Infestor coming out. No Fungal just quite yet available though. Was that? Oh, there was. Ooh, he could have, shoulda, woulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Twilight Council only now in production here for Zest. Really committed to the Void Race for the time being, and now, I mean, to be fair, he is incorporating the carriers as well. So they're trying to find a way to chain his fungals together on these Void Rays, of course. Get the queens all together underneath as well. Looks like the Void Ray is going for quite a daring path, and the trajectory is taking them straight up into the main base. Now, it was quite a risky maneuver. If there were infestors ready to fungal him on that left side as he was transitioning from base to base, that could have been quite something devastating. Now the fungals, they need to land, and one of them, there we go, that's the second one, the hive tech. Oh my, oh, the transfuse, keeping it alive. Oh, he keeps it alive. The Void Race recall a little bit too quickly, and he doesn't get the snipe right there. Losing so many Void Rays. Actually, only 6. What? Alright, well, only 6 Void Rays. It's still a lot of Void Rays. It is still more than half of the Void Rays that were available. Now we have carriers as well. But maybe not something to defend the carriers against the Corruptors. And the Queens here also starting to form a marching band. Might be a moment where Solar tries to just bust his way across the map here. In a not too far distant future, but... Okay, no. He's starting to maneuver these queens backwards again. Alright, just spreading the creep. Spreading the good word of the creep. Right, Solar seeing the army of Zest on the bottom. Will have to respond, of course, with his own army movements here. Queens and Infestors getting to the right area. Zest not really committing to that place though, just wanted the Watchtower. Both of the players now having 1 each. As Zest wants to gain control of the bottom area of the map. Most likely Solar will be forced to expand to the top left side. Very far away from this Protoss ball. It's not bad actually, I kind of like the position here for Solar. He's already got a fair amount of Spore Crawlers here. Protecting this base that is going to be very close to the potential bases. Well, the potential extra bases for Zest here. Whereas this top area is still quite open, right? No Protoss base over here to be a potential threat or a place to push from. Just gotta have to see whether or not Solar will be able to hold on to this area. That is a big if. Alright. Spore Crawlers doing that thing so far, and yeah, that is not a place where Zest wants to commit just quite yet. Zealots on the 9 o'clock though will be able to cause quite a stir here. A lot of Zerglings having to be sent across. A couple of drones going down, a good amount of Spore Crawlers as well. As the Protoss and Zerg army moving alongside one another. The creep dissipating wherever it is found. There's no observer though, so he needs to do revelation on each creep to him. It makes it a bit more difficult to clear up the creep, but as you can see, he's just missed one there. Very possible that that happens. Alright. Yeah, this is just the same kind of game that we saw the previous time as well. Zest needs to navigate it a little bit better this time around. Jungle, the jungle map. Jegannatha, there we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of it, but anyway, Jegannatha, a map that is a lot less wide. If the Zerg army, especially with Broodlords, have to go from this place to like this place, you know, or from this place to like this place, it feels a bit longer than it would be on Jegannatha, just going horizontally back and forth, which makes this mothership attack and kind of recall maneuver a lot more viable, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot harder for Solar to make something happen. Some clean feedbacks right there. The Spore Crawler's trying to march forwards, but the army of Zest, that make it difficult in sniping away at whatever he can before it's planted into ground. Losing a Immortal there, that's, you know, a little unfortunate moments, but I would assume all right. Zest still not really finding a way to claim this base on the 12, or sorry, yeah, the 12 o'clock. The 5 o'clock. Big point of contention there, and as we mentioned, yeah, it's so easy for Solar to push in from this area. He's already had all the static defense, so it's just a secure area. His Broodlords need to move mere centimeters in order to really start pressuring a potential Protoss base there. So I would love to see Zest now trying to refocus his efforts on the top side, getting his expansions up there. And just rather kind of maybe perhaps preoccupy the Zerg army in different ways. To be fair, you have to be ever so vigilant not to let the Zerg free push with the static defense up until your own well-equipped base over here in the bottom right side. There we go. Carriers. Let's see. Is he going to try to commit here? Does not appear to be the case. Just a quick little tango. And then he's out of there. Baneling, Zergling, maneuver. Aiming for the probes. Not going so well so far, but yeah, gets the static defense and enough Banelings left to really just strike gold on that base right there. And suddenly we have the Mothership having done a recall, I would imagine, with this army here. Not entirely certain how it got here, but there it is. Looking to break Mr. Solar now from behind. He's still having the fight above all these Spore Crawlers, though. So, I mean, sure, you managed to get behind the enemy line, but you're still fighting where your opponent wants to fight. And this is looking like, once again, Zest may lose an enormous portion of his army. Oh, big reinforcement of Stalkers, though. Having that Warp Prism stay alive is a big difference, as we saw in the previous game. Okay, the Stalkers starting to get rid of all of the Broodlords right now. Need to do another blink maneuver. Can they manage to get it? Going for the Ultralisk instead. One Broodlord remains, but yeah, this is, wow, that is it's a dead army there from Zest. That is no longer existing. And, well, he has a big bank. He has 8k minerals, 3k gas. But does he have time to make anything before the Zerg comes in to knock out his lights? I'm not entirely convinced just quite yet. I suppose we don't have Broodlords anymore at a high quantity. But we're going to have Zerglings and Ultralisk be the unit on the production tab right now that are reinforcing the lost supply of Solar. Right now it's back up to 200 pretty much. Zest struggling to find his way back up to 150 supply. A lot of Stalkers. It is just pretty much pure Stalker right here from Zest onwards. A desperation move that a lot of Protoss players know about. It happens kind of naturally when you're in this position. You know it's not the greatest, but you feel like you don't have that much of a choice. You need to have something. You need to have it now. And the warp in is the best way to get that to happen. Sure, you still need to reassemble some sort of a big technologically advanced army in order to deal with the technological advanced army of the Zerg, but, well, you need to have some maneuvers, and this is a pretty good one, actually. Those Stalkers just coming in, sniping away at the 9 o'clock. That's a base that's gone now. I feel like a broken record, but here we have Solar once again kind of showing, right? He's very patient. He is so incredibly patient. So many other Zergs would have been just at the heels, right? Trying to take out whatever they can with those Brute Lords Infestors. They'd be struggling with the Stalkers, just running amok everywhere. And maybe still some opportunities arise for the Protoss at that moment in time, but still. How do you counter Mass Stalker? I think you just fungal them. Like one fungal and they won't be able to blink. Then, you know, it's up to you. Either you have Brute Lords, or you have Zerglings, or you have Ultralisk just running into them and killing them. Right? I mean, one of these blinks, if you blink underneath the Brute Lords, yeah, you're not going to be able to blink away from a fungal anymore. Right? And to, like, precisely just blink the Stalkers that are going to be hit by a, you know, a fungal that is in transition as the projectile. I've never seen anyone even attempt that, right? Maybe here and there you see some people make the move once because they see the bile coming in, which is very impressive, but to do it consecutively, consistently, against how many infestors? 6 of them? I don't know. There we go, already one fungal kind of landing. 2 infestors have been taken out though. Dodging another fungal, there's one. I guess there's not really a follow-up available though for Solar at this moment in time. Where's your army, Solar? Solar? Okay, Sark's now being nibbled upon with that fungal leading the charge. The Ultralisk actually struggling against the Immortals. Oh my dear lord! Zest is coming in with quite a devastating amount of firepower. How many Immortals is this? Oh my, I thought this would just be over and done with, but Solar taking a horrible fight right now. I feel like that was just half his army. He still had the Brood Lord somewhere, he still had Corruptor somewhere. Like a lot of potential stuff still somewhere else on the map. Maybe anticipating anything else to happen. Look at all this stuff. But yeah, now he lost the base. He's lost a lot of Ultralisk. He's lost a lot of Zerglings. And against an army composition which, you know, theoretically Zerglings and Ultralisk should be pretty good against. Sure, Immortals, they counter the Ultralisk, but they don't counter the Zergling. I guess we have Storm versus the Zergling, so this is a very interesting unit composition right now. Kind of reminds me of like how Astrea plays PvZ. I have been playing PvZ for a very long time. It's been a while since I've really caught a lot of Astrea's games, but it's a lot of fun seeing this. You got to do the 1-2 punch, utilize that mobility of those Stalkers, and the rest of the units kind of trailing behind. There's the extra firepower ready there whenever you need it. And Solar struggling, man. He is sincerely struggling. He's moving back and forth. He's losing bases left, right, and center. Zest is just claiming more and more space for himself on that top side of the map. Look at this. All these next side going up, ready to mine. He is looking wonderful right now. Such a weird moment in the game where Solar once again decided to be a little bit more passive, and Zest found a beautiful way to get himself suddenly in. You know what, I have to give it to him. It's a more advantageous position from this point onwards, in my opinion. Sure, those Brood Lords, they're gonna be a struggle to deal with, but I mean, so far he's done so well just avoiding them straight up. Just coming in as just staying away from those Brood Lords. It does feel like Solar, like, I'm not sure if this is the case, but to me, the way, like, I'm seeing this and I'm getting the feeling like he's afraid of throwing the game. He's afraid of, like, he's in a good position. Let's just finish off my opponent from this point onwards. Let's not give him any time to try and recuperate. And I feel like this is kind of where Solar is struggling right now. Because he was up with like 100 supply. He was up with 100 supply. 100. Sure, we have 22 gateways, you know, warping in Stalkers. But then he would still be up with like 50 supply. Maybe it wasn't exactly 100, but it was between 180 or something at some point in time. And now it's just all just up for grabs again. Just all up for grabs again. We've got Tempest, we've got Immortals, storming High Templar, Stalkers just doing all sorts of guerrilla attacks, coming in from the woodworks, sniping hatcheries left, right and center, opening up more areas for the Nexus of Zest to appear. And Solar finally does manage to kind of get himself in an aggressive position here. Those Broodlords starting to deal with the infrastructure here. Sees that there's hardly any minerals left. So I think he's just like, alright, well, I guess I don't want to waste too much time with the Broodlords here in case I get attacked from the back. But yeah, I mean, it's just a rough position here. Not one of those crazy games, man. You know what, you guys keep saying you're here for the good games, but I think, you know what, it's actually working. I think this mantra is actually channeling the universe into giving us some of the best StarCraft 2 games we could get. It's also clear now. Alright, yeah, this base it's cleaned up, but there's not that much left here anymore for Solar to take advantage of. It's not that much left here either, though, which Zest is claiming for himself. Circling Ultralisk army. Ooh, that is... Ooh, that's a lot of Immortals. Just anticipating the counterattack of the Ultralisk. Broodlord's Corruptor army still looking pretty sweet. 8 Infestors, 9 High Templars. 3 carriers in total. Only 3, make that 2. We're so focused on the Tempest. I'm not sure if I like the Tempest, but I guess we're back in this weird pickle from afar situation, and please you attack my static defense rather than I will attack your static defense. It's gonna take a lot longer here for Zest to get everything cleared up. It's crazy that we just skipped an entire best of 3, and this is still one of the longest groups we've had so far. Just time-wise. That is crazy. Circlings. Oh, that's a good fungal. Needs to chain these fungals. It's going to be able to get all of the Immortals. And that is right on top of the production of the robots anyway, right? So, I mean, you're not going to be able to remake them. Or maybe you will, because the Broodlords are moving away again. Doesn't want to take the fight just quite yet. Oh, I see why. I see why you would kind of not want to take the fight just quite yet. There is a mothership in the main base of Solar right now. There is the army now with it. A lot of Archons still being morphed in, just completing as the Armada arrives. Let's see a big base trade happening right here, right now. Circlings and, well, it's more so a little bit of a counterattack. The main army of Solar is in fact still coming to try and meet the Protoss that's in his main base, but another recall teleporting across the map once again. Where is it going to? Where did it go? Oh, it went here. Right. There's no Nexus there, but I don't know. Something happened. It was just another mothership recall. We don't know. Just, you'll have to check the replay yourself. Oh, man. This is ridiculous. This is just straight up StarCraft fanfic we're watching here. Like, it recalls into the Solar's main base, and then he recalls out, but Solar takes out 2 bases as well. Kind of 3 bases, actually. Man. Man. Alright, bit of a bigger bank for Solar. I don't think that's something to worry about too much for Zest here. So I believe Zest has... Actually, no, he hasn't traded more efficiently. Actually, in fact, Solar's been trading more efficiently. It's very scary. It's this very scary thought here for Zest. Luckily, he cannot look at those statistics. Otherwise, that would just be getting in his head right now. Still trying to just get some pressure going here and there. A couple of gateway forces trying to keep the pressure going, so he secures this base. Nice DT warp in as well. Solar being very careful still as well. I thought he would try to at least do some corrosive biles on the robos here, right? But doesn't even make the attempt. What do we still have in the production tab? The Ultralisk Cavern has to be remade. More banelings in production. Final upgrades here for Zest coming into play as well. Doesn't quite have the shield upgrades, but they'll be there soon. They'll be there soon. At least the first one. Just more spores. More MO spore crawlers coming in as well. Huh. So yeah, 29 minutes in. We may have to call this the crazy game. The game of crazy games. The one where the universe decided, you know what? I am here for the good games. That is what I'm here for. So are these players, by the way, guys. Man, this must be ever so tiring. Like, I mean, I'm just watching this and I'm getting tired of watching it overall, but they have to play all this stuff, man. It's ridiculous. Alright, attempted bit of attacking here. The Archons and the Immortals might not be the greatest unit anymore in the very, very late game. Well, they still kind of are, but maybe not as good as 16 Dark Templars, because that's what they're being replaced with. Never mind, it's 8 Archons. Never mind, it's 8 Archons. It's like, alright, nice, we got some momentum now. Maybe we'll be able to kill this base. Oh, no, never mind, it's 8 Archons. Alright, Brute Lords once more getting in. I'm not sure. I keep thinking they might start pushing here with the Brute Lords, but Solar just doesn't want to. Just refuses. We're down to 22 probes versus 32. We're almost at a point where we can start counting the mineral patches left on this map. There's still a couple of bases here and there with a few of them, but they will be gone very quickly. Oh, there's still like 600 minerals there. What do we have over here? About 2k. Yeah, a bit over 2k minerals. And then these bases, right? These ones. I guess Solar's been on the one of his. Could still expand towards this one as well. Would be the logical next step, wouldn't it? Gives him a nice platform to start being an actual threat to the main base of the Protoss as well. And make life maybe a bit more difficult for Zest. This weird wrestling match, right? It's like they're both wrestling for control over certain areas of the map, and whenever somebody gains control, it's incredibly difficult to regain that control or make something happen so that your opponent loses that control. That's a lot of fungals right there. Oh, shoots out another. There we go. Quite a couple of them land. May need a little bit more in order to really shut this down, though. Alright, there's more fungals. The HP boss of the Protoss Force is going down quite quickly. There's corrosive bile now as well. More fungals. Do we have more fungals? It's these units are getting in the orange right now. They are getting very low. The Corruptor's big storm, though, on those boys. Is this enough for Solar to make it happen? I think he does have enough in quick recall. That is great from Zest. I'm gonna keep himself in this. What is this? What is this? He just recalled all the way to the right side of the map. I thought he was just gonna do a tactical retreat, but no, he's gonna stay on the offensive here. These bases on the right side are under immense pressure right now. Archon's looking for those Corruptors. The Corruptors waiting for the Brute Lords to keep them safe. How many Infestors do we still have remaining? It's only 5 of them. Not that much energy on them either. Zest, he found himself, he carved himself a pathway out in this Zerg territory. But he is surrounded by Zerg structures. Surrounded by Zerg units. Was this the right call to make? Is he gonna be able to just eke out his victory right here? Starting to take out a lot of valuable units from Solar right now. Vipers being picked off left, right and center, and both banks of these players starting to get dangerously low right here. Making the best of the situation. The Tempest just poking at the Spore Crawlers, trying to keep any bit of damage that he might take from these Spore Crawlers to a minimum. He knows he has to be as careful and as efficient as he can. And so does Solar, waiting for the rejuvenation of the energy. Getting a couple of the Spore Crawlers juicing the Vipers as well. Careful. Tempest still poking away from a distance as the still mining bases, the last mining bases remaining, are being dealt with now as well. Both players almost at 200 army supply. Look at that, 100 army supply versus 170. Solar makes the move here with still a lot of his army on the top side of the map. Is that the right call? I'm not entirely certain. The Brute Lords moving a little bit backwards, but those Stalkers zapping their way forwards. The Tempest not going to be enough to withstand the Corruptors though. And without that Tempest carrier firepower combining with the Stalkers, those Brute Lords stay alive and GG is called.